I think it's pretty gross to walk past it, to be honest. It's a pretty big eyesore.
Banks of dirty snow coupled with piles of trash, like a post-snowstorm hangover that's lingering faced to the unending cold temperatures. But the heaps of trash have prompted some outrage. Actor Michael Rappaport, who's no friend of Mayor Mamdani, complained about the trash on the Upper East Side, and Councilmember Ina Vernikov also took aim at the mayor. The mayor says they're working on it.
Sanitation is currently running about 24 hours behind on trash collection. I know that they are working with everything that they have to come up to speed, and that'll continue to be a focus for us, because what we want is a city where New Yorkers can continue to return back to their lives as they were.
So I'd like to address the trash crisis that we're still seeing in some parts of New York City to this very day, where you're witnessing these scenes of massive mountains of garbage bags just piling up on top of each other. The initial excuse given was that, well, it was because of the snowstorm, but the snowstorm now was about 2 weeks ago, and we're still watching to this day the effort of cleanup as it pertains to both the snow and the garbage has gone incredibly slow under the Mamdani administration. Many residents are starting to get fed up with the situation. They're describing it as rancid and a biohazard. I actually saw some videos today of not just the rat population, as you could imagine, exploding around these piles of garbage, but even saw one. I know this is very disgusting, but maggots, yeah, that's right. Larvae and worms are starting to live within these settlements of disgusting Mamdani trash bags all around the city. But ladies and gentlemen, at the same time, part of me feels like these trash bags should stay there permanently. Why? Because they ought to stand as a permanent memorial to the Mamdani ideology and leftism as a whole, right? Essentially, this is what you voted for. This is the warmth of collectivism we're all celebrating. So why not just keep it there? Not just because of the socialist aspect of it, although that's true, yeah. Interestingly enough, the people who purport to be the parties of big government seem to love to have inefficient government services. But frankly, secondly, I'd further point out that, well, what does New York City look like right now? A third world country. And what is leftism and what is the ideology truly of the Democrat Party in 2026? That's what it's all about, right? They want to turn America into the third world, and they're not exactly all that quiet about it. Okay, you have Mamdani as one example, a political candidate who ran his entire campaign, essentially trying to appeal to the foreign-born New York City residents who in many cases migrated from third world countries. And you see him even pretending to be one of them, eating with his hands, celebrating his heritage, all that stuff. Well, okay, there you go. Why not build that as a monument to his heritage and the diversity? You know, you talk about, oh, diversity is our strength. America was built by foreign people, and these are the foreign people we're importing. Well, then there you go.
I speak of Yemeni bodega owners and Mexican abuelas, Senegalese taxi drivers and Uzbek nurses, Trinidadian line cooks and Ethiopian aunties. Yes, aunties.
And then politically speaking, what are Democrats all about these days? Well, first and foremost, you look at what their top political priority is, what they're currently even fighting in the streets of Minneapolis, and it's fundamentally the idea of importing millions of people from failed third world societies because according to them, they're just so culturally enriching. You know, they're better than Westerners. Look at their food, look at their languages or something. Somehow all of this makes America better. And then those people, of course, seek to then get into Western countries, whether it's America, whether it's Europe, whatever, and start turning Western countries into the third world societies that they came from. And of course, if you stand to criticize any of it, if you remotely say, look, can we have some enforcement of social norms? I'm kind of tired of third world behavior happening in my country. You, of course, responded to by saying that you're a racist, right? That is extreme bigotry. How dare you not embrace and tolerate the diversity, quote unquote, of other cultures? Because don't you know? In many other third world countries on this planet, including the one that Mamdani's family originally came from to this day, it's culturally normal to, you know, not actually have landfills and disposal for trash, you know, away from the general population. They're still living like they're in the medieval era or something like that. And look, that's just their cultural difference. So, you know, overall, again, a prime example like this right here, this image summarizes everything about the Democrat Party in 2026. So that said, in today's video, I do want to address this whole issue with the trash crisis, kind of show you parts of what's going on and what it turns out actually happened here, as well as show you once again Mamdani doubling down on the ideology that got us to this very point. So that said, guys, we'll get into it. First, though, do us a favor. If you enjoy our content, make sure you hit that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We greatly appreciate the support, but it also ensures that you can stay up to date with all the latest news and coverage. And that said, let us start by showing you some of the sights and sounds of the New York City trash crisis.
I did a video about Mamdani not cleaning up the trash in New York, and people were like, oh, it's because of city snow, because of ice. Do you see this? This is because of nothing. Look, this is the Great Wall of New York City trash. This is now a national landmark, actually. You can't even see that there is a road on the opposite side of this. I'm about 6 feet tall. Look at this. This is my height. At the very least, I'll give it to Mamdani. They separated the recycles and the wall of trash. So you have a nice wall of recycles here and a beautiful wall of trash here. This is insane.
That summarizes it so well too, right? Well, hey, at least we're recycling. Sure, we may have this third world looking pile of trash as tall as 6 feet going on in our city, but did you make sure to separate the bags from the bottles? There you go, right? This is environmentally friendly. Because look, yeah, there might be rats and maggots living in all this trash, but actually, you know, just the fact that we're making sure we're not wasting plastic, we're saving the turtles here by doing this, you know, that's obviously what matters most. But it goes on.
I just want to give a congratulations to our newly elected, amazing, wonderful mayor, Mamdani. Everything's under control. The streets are all clear. Garbage is all being picked up. It's on schedule. It's every 3-4 weeks. They come by, they pick up some garbage. They're following the sanitation procedures of Cuba. It's going to be beautiful. Just get nose plugs in case the weather starts smelling. There's not that much garbage. Poquito, poquito.
Yeah, well, how fitting is it that within literally a month of New York City electing a third world socialist, the city already looks like a third world socialist country? You know, that didn't take long. And maybe a lot of people had the presumption that, well, because Mamdani ran on a bunch of fantastical campaign promises and he doesn't really have authority over a lot of these things, there's no way he's actually going to make New York City look like, you know, Somalia or Cuba or Venezuela or just some random failed state out there that often are the original byproduct, right, of, you know, socialist or far left ideas combined with just third world inability to build functional countries. That can't happen, right? Because you can't even control free buses or anything like that. No. Mamdani essentially said, I'll find another way to third worldify this city. And I guess that's how it got done. But I'm again going to go back to this point, right? Why should the trash actually leave? Why should people even have the right, if they voted for Mamdani, to complain about massive piles of trash? Because is this not your ideology? Are you not all about turning America into a third world country, right? You, of course, advocate for the mass importation of millions of peoples from these very failed societies, and then when they get here, instead of saying ruthlessly, you need to assimilate into American society, we don't, like, you left this place because you don't want to have a country like this place, you instead say the opposite. Celebrate your own culture, no need to assimilate, and, you know, feel free to live off of government benefits and continue your career of hustling and scamming and defrauding people in the same way you did on the dirty, filthy, trash-filled streets of the country you came from. And you know what? We'll even make sure the streets in this country remind you a lot of home, right? That's essentially what they're allowing to happen. So, you know, there you have it, right? I mean, what does this look like? This scene right here. Well, it looks a lot like, say, Mogadishu, the capital of Somalia. A place that, by the way, I've been told ruthlessly by left-wing activists over in Minnesota as of late is just so amazing. They have such a rich culture and history and heritage, and they're just such fantastic people. Have you seen the food? Have you seen the bananas and rice? It's delicious. Okay, well, What's wrong with New York City looking like Mogadishu then? That's what you guys are all about. So don't take the trash out. Actually keep it there. So that way, you know, all of these racist Americans with their long history of colonialism and imperialism, that's the reparations, right? You know, that's decolonization. Did you know, by the way, that throwing your trash away in the trash can is, just a social construct of white supremacy? That's what it is. As is, of course, other things like, showing up to work on time, not screaming on the speakerphone in the middle of crowded public places, making an honest, legitimate living and not just ruthlessly defrauding and scamming government services, making a residential house for the direct members of your family and not like 20 to 30 people in a random HOA neighborhood. Like these things, these things are, if you have problems with any of these things, you're a white supremacist, right? It's just a different culture. Well, there you go. Cultural enrichment for you, ladies and gentlemen. I would even point out, as it pertains to Mamdani, someone who, constantly wants to remind you that he's a Muslim foreigner from India, and that's like his entire campaign platform, that, well, after all, they're going to call me racist for this, but I think the comparison is accurate. If the streets of his home country, or his family's home country, right, look like this, then why should it surprise you that a guy whose entire ideology is basically just third worldism, why should it surprise you when that scene comes right here to America? This is a place you celebrate. Everyone always, all these woke leftists and hippies are always saying, it's such a beautiful, amazing country. I idolize India so much. Well, okay. Enjoy India. Hey, that's their culture, right? Sure, you might be talking about a country with the biggest trash and waste problem on planet Earth. You may be talking about a place where the holiest rivers in the local religion are a literal biohazard because there's just so much fecal matter and even human remains inside of it. But, don't be racist, right? If you look at that country and say, I actually don't want America to look like this, you're just racist. How dare you even speak those words? How dare you basically have expectations for what America or a first world society should look like, right? And, it's because obviously the Somalia issue has been very talked about on the right as of late. But I would point out, the India story is very similar, because if you remotely go up there and say, look, I think we should cut the H-1B visas. I think it's too much. I think it's a massive problem. It's hurting American workers, and H-1B primarily is a work visa that's basically all coming from India. And frankly, there are very similar patterns of fraud as the whole like Somali government program type of thing, right? This whole chain migration issue, it's a huge problem. And, within the United States, right? I'm not even trying to say that they're all bad people or something, but yeah, there is kind of just this cultural clash going on by so many people coming over here and the encouragement not to assimilate into American customs, American norms, and all those things. And then so over time, what happens, right? America starts to look like places that are third world, and you complain about it. No, you're not allowed to do that, right? So we're not allowed to complain. So there you go. I love New York City. I love how much it resembles New Delhi, actually. I love how much it resembles Mumbai, which, by the way, are very beautiful places. I definitely on the top of my trout. I wish I lived there. I just wish they're just amazing, right? Please, leftists, don't shoot me, Am I going too far with this video? Am I gonna get canceled for this? It's just true. It's the truth, though, right? It's the truth. So don't complain, import something, get something, right? It's very simple. So, anyways, the New York Post here is reporting that New Yorkers are feeling left out in the cold more than a week after the fierce winter storm dumped over a foot of snow in the city, leaving behind iceberg-sized snow piles that are blocking roadways, bike lanes, sidewalks, and parking spots. So, okay, the politicians can't control the weather, contrary to whatever the Democrat Party tries to say about, climate change ideology. So that part, okay, fine, fair enough, you can't control. But how is the cleanup going? Well, as of just 2 days ago. There is still a lot of snow left on the streets, and now with the trash pickups, it just feels like it's magnified, and it's really unsafe and unsightly. And you can see this scene here, right here, for example, of, you know, a woman trying to put her baby in the stroller on this just massive pile of snow and ice. You know, the sidewalk's not even visible, right? Because they basically just scraped it all to the side there. Drivers have been stymied along 8th and 9th Avenues in Midtown Manhattan thanks to unruly frozen snow piles that are blocking entire lanes, which, by the way, we did see some videos of, well, the bulldozers just like dumping the snow in the middle of the street, which is not very practical, I would think, but, you know.
He's just dumping it in the fucking bus lane. This is crazy.
Sanitation has melted 183 pounds of snow and laid 227 million pounds of salt, Mamdani had said, but some lifelong city dwellers were not buying this triumphant assessment, saying, quote, "I've never seen this in my life, the piles and everything. This guy, Mamdani, is full of blank. He's more concerned," this was a 70-year-old resident, by the way, "he's more concerned about getting jackets that look cool when he does press conferences." So, very true. Beyond dragging down drivers, the snowy streets have further turned into treacherous slip and slides. I've slipped, I fell off my bicycle, the food is all over the street. I wear a lot of clothes, so I feel a little pain, so it's not too bad. But sometimes they don't plow the bike lane, and I have to ride in the street, and that's dangerous. Which is frankly hilarious, because these people are supposed to be progressive. You know, they're all about reducing car-centric infrastructure. So yeah, just, you know, ride your bike like the Europeans do. Amazing. And then they don't even plow the bike lane. Very fitting, you know. And then you gotta imagine riding a bicycle in the streets. Frankly, anywhere in the streets is dangerous, but New York City with those drivers, yeah. Not very safe. Not very inclusive, by the way, to the people who are fighting climate change, Democrats. Come on now. But, you know, it goes on and on here. This resident stated that they saw a lady slip and almost fall backwards yesterday. And, of course, we cannot forget, obviously, about the trash situation as well. So there you have it. Apparently, you know, they've been trying to melt the snow and all this stuff. But needless to say, the government services under Mamdani are not functioning all that well. Although, if you're model icons are countries where such government services are heavily corrupt and basically don't exist at all, then what is to be expected, right? Import the third world. What do you get, ladies and gentlemen? It's actually not complicated. So that said, guys, let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comment section down below. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and until next time, God bless and peace.